had no idea that she was behind Ladies Night. That's a classic, man.
Man, listen, man, I was involved with a lot of joints, bro. I produced a record on Jennifer Lopez's first album, this on the six. You know what I'm saying? Like I work with Aaliyah and you know, and I work with everybody, bro. Like my name is synonymous with new artists and hits. You know what I'm saying? I remember I did a song back then, and it was the only record on her album, but it was big. They sent me the album and they said, pick the song you think should be a single. The song is called 5 o'clock in the Morning by Nonchalant out of DC. And I shot the video for, I think I shot the video for like $40,000 back then. You know what I'm saying? But the record was huge for her. You know what I'm saying? It was the only one, but like I said, nah, man. I've done a lot. I've worked with a lot. I've done. You check my history. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah.
And to go back to Cam, Big, he's the one that told you to sign Cam, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, he told me to sign him because, like I said, I don't know the story behind him and Mace and how much of Crush on You he wrote and any of those things, you know what I'm saying? But to set the record straight, neither one of them wrote Kim's verse. Biggie, Cam, or Mace. You know what I'm saying? They wrote Caesar's verse. They didn't write Biggie, they didn't write that hook. Big wrote that hook and did the hook himself. You know what I'm saying? It was all three verses because Big was good at it. He was setting C's up for his album. So three verses, it was a whole C's song. It was supposed to be Caesar's first single. You know what I'm saying? Um, what happened was is that uh the Puff Daddy record on Little Kim No Time was not working. You know what I'm saying? And Puff was supposed to be the man. Big got upset because Puff, now all of a sudden y'all want Puff. And I done broke her. I done did all this. Puff didn't want to sign her. Puff ain't want nothing to do with her. Puff want to be on the first single as if he's Biggie on his artwork and everything to this horrible record sounding like he's Biggie. Like, and Big's like, so when the record wasn't working, Atlantic was like, what we gonna do? Big was like, yo, take that Crush on You record, put C's, put Kim, let Kim rap 2 8-bar verses and come up with an idea for the video. Big had an idea for Crush on You. Puff wouldn't let him do the video, so he got upset. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened after that. You know what I'm saying? So not too long after Crush on You was blowing up, becoming huge, Hypnotized was blowing up, becoming huge, Big getting ready to drop a new album, and he ends up passing away. While all of this shit was going on, we were on top of the world. You know, at first, Puff didn't thought Kim was whack. He didn't think that she was good. You know what I'm saying? He didn't start paying attention to Kim. When he heard Players Anthem, he tried to steal a record for Total from Clark Kent. He was like, "No, I want that shit for Total." He didn't really start feeling Kim until after Kim came out at the Apollo, because they did the Apollo and he only wanted to do Big's verse to get money. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Kim's doing her verse. And when Kim came out on stage, that went nuts. I mean, that Apollo went crazy. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So it was after that, he was like, yo, I want to produce a record on her and I want her first single. And Atlantic, they was riding, Craig Cowman, great guy, great A&R guy, but he knew Puff wasn't the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The Get Money video. How did that come about? And I think Charlie Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken, she was playing Faith in that, right?
well, I mean, I've been back then, man, it was crazy. It was funny because there was this dynamic of three women that were in his life that all needed special treatment, all needed different things, all needed to be babysat a different way. You know what I'm saying? And I had to be in the middle of it because, like I said, I was the closest one to him, especially when it came to finance. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, make sure that motherfuckers is good type shit. You know what I'm saying? So if there was a you know, I need to make up and, you know, some gift needs to show up, you know what I mean? But it was loving and it was traumatic and chaotic all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It was three women who, you know, basically all loved the same guy for the same reasons. You know what I'm saying? Not for anything different, you know, for the same reasons, you know, and it was one of those things that, you know, as a man, you saying, if you got the balls to try to get away with this shit, then so be it. You know what I mean? But every day was something different, man. It inspired music. It motivated, you know, a lot of things came out of that. You know what I'm saying? And it built character. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you ask any one of them women, they'll all tell you, you know, they put some of him in their music. You know what I'm saying? Like all three of them put him and you know, wrote that part of their life. You know what's interesting is because when I first started running around shopping the mafia, and like I said, I shopped the mafia with Big as part of the group. You know, there was a lot of pushback because I used the word sex symbol a lot in my pitch. And one of the persons who looked at me like I was crazy was Russell Simmons. And I said, nah, Big's gonna be a sex symbol. And he was like, this big, back, fat, ugly. And he was like, Heavy D's a sex symbol, right? And I said, but you never seen him around women. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been around him. He's charming and he's mesmerizing when it come to these women. Something about him and these women. But they didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, well, you're gonna see it. You know what I mean? And you know, it and the beautiful part about it, you know, you could tell a real MC. And I equate it to um even though it was a movie, Eminem, when he battle rapped the guy, and what
8 Mile.
yeah, what he did was he said everything about himself before that person could say it, right? So now you take the funny out, you take the sting out of it because I'm the one who's making fun of myself, right? If there's a joke there. And Big was good at that by saying, fat and black and ugly as ever. However, right, he admitted to it. He said, I know y'all gonna say this about me, but let me clarify what comes along with that. However, I stay fly, I stay this, I stay that, I'm that, which made him authentic. You know what I'm saying? For you to, you know, to accept your misgivings. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you know, you gotta, you know, you kind of got to live with that limp. You know what I'm saying? So accept it.
You being around Big, you knew all the plans he had. Is it any truth that he was working on an album with Fat Joe?
I I love Fat Joe, and Fat Joe is my guy. I love the Jada and Joe show, and I know why they're running with the Joe's the king of Cap. I'm gonna call Cap. I'm gonna call Cap without even knowing, right? Because I don't know for sure, right? But I'm calling Cap. I'm calling Cap. I'm calling Cap that they're because I would have, if there was a real legitimate album, I would have heard about that, right? And I wouldn't have heard about them doing songs together, right? Because in Daddy's house, in all across Big going to studio, you could get a verse or you might not get a verse, depending on his mood and how much money you had in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a how much how much weed you got on you type shit. You know what I'm saying? But I call cap on Fat Joe. I hate the show me the receipts. Show me the receipts, Fat Joe. Like I said, I don't know for sure, but I'm calling cap on that one. I hate to do it, Joe.